What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jace Goes Phantom in this motherfucker. And right now, man, I just want to get into this topic real quick of subconscious loops. Because a lot of the times, when you're in your mental body, when you're in your mind as an observer, as a spirit, right? This is going to be what I call basically like a false light, almost like a cursed light. And what I mean by a cursed light is basically an awareness. Like when I say a light, I literally just mean this, like a projection basically on your own conscious observation of reality, right? Meaning stuff that we hallucinate based upon our own subconscious programming. So there'll be basically what I call like a cursed light, almost like a light that is from the third dimension, but that light from the third dimension is based upon those early experiences. Like let's say a person had a bunch of negative experiences growing up, right? Even when they become an adult, they will probably be under the influence of that cursed light, meaning like their subconscious is constantly flashing them with thoughts, with feelings, with images that are related to their programming. So it can trigger you to join that cycle. Because that cycle is like, it's mental, meaning like we engage with certain thoughts and feelings, certain thought forms and shit like that, right? Certain ways of feeling that we may not be even consciously trying to be aware of, but because we're subconsciously programmed that way, it's subconsciously deeply embedded in us and shit like that. We're gonna find ourselves consciously thinking and feeling about those things, where it's like all the bad things that happened to a person when they were little, when they were a kid, when they're an adult, it's gonna become some type of cursed light in their mind, where it's like the only thing they may be aware of, the only thing they may be what's it called? Because light is just awareness. So a person's mind may only be aware of all the bad shit that happened to them. And it's like a person will sit there and talk to themselves about the bad shit that happened to them. But it's like the more a person spend time and energy in that cycle, the more that cycle becomes heavier. Because what we're doing is unknowingly is we're adding time and energy to that cycle. And so because like when you want to change something, when you want to like take care of something, you want to cut it from the root. You don't want to cut the petals, you don't want to cut the flowers, you don't want to cut, you don't want to cut the stem, you want to cut it from the root cause. This way it's like it can't stem back up again and stuff like that, right? So it's like, yeah, basically when a person gets born into this reality and shit like that, you gotta understand, like, and I know people want to blame their family and their circumstances and their culture, and I do that too. But just to be a little bit more accountable and responsible than I was yesterday, it's really like, because whatever your spirit is doing right now, it's what it has always been doing. And because like spirits don't really like to change a lot of times. Like once a person think and feel a certain way, it's like it's certain circumstances and situations that they start to manifest, but all of it just be based upon like what they agree, whatever they was resonating with, that's what they came into this reality with, as things to play out, as who their mom and dad's gonna be, as who you know what I'm saying? Because we all are really creating this reality together. Like it get deep because like it's not that your mom and dad or your culture has anything against you necessarily. It's really like playing out like we all subconsciously as spirits, part of this low vibrational cycle, really have something subconsciously like against ourselves in a way. So it's like when you manifest your family circumstance, when you manifest like all these different things like 3D density wise, it all really be a result of like how much your spirit was doing itself dirty in the spirit realm type shit like that, right? Where it's like we forgot our purpose and we started doing like a bunch of random shit and shit like that. So it's like people gotta understand like whatever experiences, circumstances, mom and dad you experienced, like you probably like planned all of it out. But the thing is like about the subconscious world is that it's so subconscious, like it's so like secretive. It's not secretive, it's just so occult, it's so like behind closed doors that like if you're a spirit that's just aware of the conscious world, you're probably gonna get washed by some subconscious shit, and you're not gonna know what that influence was, but it was like a spirit though type shit. So it's like, and it'd be like a whole system where like it's important to keep you in hell because it puts someone else in heaven, but that's another topic for another time and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's like I feel like that's one thing that people have to know is that like your mom and dad and all these things, like we asked for these things before we came here and shit, just by like resonating with these things and shit like that, like for real, for real. So yeah, it's important not to like blame nobody. It's really just like look yourself in the mirror and be like, damn, why did I think and feel like this? Because it put me in a situation like this. So in the 3D world, it play out like, oh, let me go to the grocery store and get me some candy. But they be like in the subconscious world, it'd be just like that. It'd be the same shit. But on a percentage level, if a spirit is not very aware of itself, it might get washed by another influence. Because like if you're not really aware of what like, you know what I'm saying? So what even gave you that idea to even like get on your knees and worship something? A man gave you that idea, but why would a person do that if they don't feel powerless about themselves in a sense? You know what I mean? So it's like I need some external power to come do X, Y, and Z for me. Well, if you need an external power to do it, why don't you have any power yourself? And then if a person doesn't have any power themselves to change their reality, well, what is it that they believe in? Like, what is it that they actually believe in? You know, because beliefs create our realities and shit like that, right? Yeah. So like it gets really interesting because a lot of the times like that's why like the subconscious mind runs everything. That's why master your subconscious, you master reality, because literally all of reality is just dictated by the subconscious mind. Like pretty much like everything is already happening perfectly according to your plan and my plan. Just that plan though, you might not want to use that plan necessarily, though. You might want to find you like a new plan and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because the current plan is the one that manifested this family circumstance, manifested a bunch of shit that we didn't need to go through and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, real stuff. That's a little bit on subconscious loops. Do I have anything I want to touch on when it comes to subconscious loops and shit like that? Like all the subconscious loop it's just basically the old cycle trying to like, because it has so much motion, so it has like energy and shit like that. All it is that the subconscious loop is basically like your spiritual observer trying to observe and spin at a new location and shit, right? And then that old spinning cycle bringing it back, because again, like whatever, if you put so much time, like let's say for example, right? If I'm riding a bicycle down the street, and let's say I bike that bicycle so hard down the street, but I'm still, when I stop pedaling, I'm still experiencing the momentum of that bicycle taking me down the street because I already pedaled so hard. So whatever cycle a person may be a part of and shit like that, people need to understand like however it is hard you went in that cycle, that's going to be the exact same effort that you're going to need to get out of that cycle. And not effort from the perspective of like put an effort to get into it, like it's some hard work or some shit. Nah, it's just effort from the perspective of like not paying attention to that cycle, not agreeing to those thoughts and feelings, and just starting to do whatever it is that, you know, let's just call it a purpose. Because at the end of the day, like everyone needs a purpose in their life. Like if a person doesn't have a purpose in their life, then their life's probably going to be idleless. They're probably going to be aimless. They're probably not going to know what to do. They're probably going to be easily enticed by, you know, 3D fleshly related stuff and things like that, right? Which again, there's nothing wrong with whatsoever. It's just about not getting lost in it and shit like that. Like, and again, like even if a person is lost in their flesh, I'm not here to like make fun of them. I'm not here to roast them. I'm not here to be like, oh, look at you, you're dumb as fuck, you're stupid. Nah, that's their mind, that's their body. Like that's their choice. Like, I don't give a damn what people do with their mind and body. I'm just observing it. Like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So that's how I look at it. Because yeah, I think a lot of people put too much time and energy into hating this world, but you still see them in this world. So you just tell me like they must like being in this world for whatever reasons they got. I don't know. But yeah, that's just a little bit for my spiritual people out there. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, man, I think that's pretty much it. I'll see y'all tomorrow. This was, goddamn it, subconscious loops and shit.